What's up, everybody? It is Pickle from BerCrew Studios here with Kick
Hello.
and Naked Sinzard.
That's me. I like being naked.
And we are in a thatch hut because we want to take a few minutes to talk about a recent patch slash update controversy that came out with ARK just a few days ago. Because we all have kind of pissed off, upset slash mixed feelings on the issue, so I figured we would let you know what happened with it, and then our feelings on what they've done and why it was bad and how it's going to kind of change gaming from here on out. So,
Oh, and we have feelings. Trust me, we have.
that we do. So to start off with, what ended up happening was at the beginning of August of this year, Studio Wildcard, the team that is responsible for ARK Survival Evolved, said that they had a huge patch slash update coming up on September 1st. Now, generally, whenever there's a patch or something coming out with the game, it doesn't usually ever hit on the day that they say. It's usually the day after, sometimes 2 days after. But this one actually hit in the middle of the afternoon, and it pissed a lot of people off. Because, as everyone knows, this game is still early access. However, they went ahead and decided to go ahead and release paid DLC. So when they told us at the beginning of August that they had an update coming up at the beginning of September, what ended up happening was that whole time that we're sitting here eagerly awaiting something coming out, it was all paid DLC. And
Yeah, and my problem with that, so just it's freaking ridiculous. I mean, we've been begging for fixes in ARK for God knows how long now, and now we got to pay for DLC, which I will say we're three schmucks who paid for the downloadable content, but still.
Well, let's. It's the morals of it, kind of in a way. The content is good, and we're going to show everybody that in a little while. But it's, man, do you really release something that you have to pay for after somebody has said, "Hey, this is early access. You know, you're in an alpha." It's like you don't buy an expansion for a game, and basically that's kind of what this is.
well, and that's the big thing, is that it's not it should be viewed as an expansion to the game. And if the game were released, having an expansion for it would be absolutely fine. My thought on it was the content looks pretty awesome. There's a ton of new stuff to explore. There's a ton of new things going on. And then to have it to where you make us wait for an entire month before anything comes out, and you kept marking it as an update or as a new patch or the upcoming patch or whatever, and all of a sudden, what do we have? We have to pay for it. But
Yeah, because this is still considered alpha, correct?
yes, the game is still early access. It was supposed to be finished back in June, but they said in April that that's not going to happen. They had some delays. There was some lawsuit about some guy that jumped ship from another company, came to Studio Wildcard, and he's supposed to have a year wait in between it. It's the same kind of thing when you go and work for a competitor. You can't work for them for an X amount of time. Well, he went under that amount of time. And it sort of just brought everything down to a screeching halt, and people were even wondering if this game was going to be able to continue to be made. Obviously, stuff was settled out of court or whatever, and everything got solved, and they're able to keep going. But the fact that it still remains is that this game is not done. To release content that we need to pay for on a game that is not done is an atrocious business model.
Well, okay, so look at it this way also. If you want to experience this map or you want to look at all the new things, it is still required, and it even says this on the page, is required to have the original game in order to play this. Well, the original game is not sealed. The package is not sealed and said, here's release.
Exactly.
So what if, for example, they come out with some update for the primary game 3 months down the road that changes everything and puts, say, as cars into the game. And everybody's like, this is completely stupid. Now this is against the original core idea of the game that we've been playing for since version blah, 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 blah. I just don't think that's, like, I don't know. It's like buying any other game that you go buy off the shelf. Here's the core package. It's sealed. We're going to put out maybe some updates for the multiplayer connectivity aspect or whatever, or some patch fixes to, for these little tiny glitches type of things, like with any game. But they're still doing major content release stuff for this game.
Yeah, the problem I see with it is right now is it's kind of twofold. There's so many bugs in the game, and granted, it's alpha. Okay, I get that. So if you want to flame me, that's fine. I get it. But typically, one of the models I've seen out there right now is when things get into what's referred to, if you want to get into a closed beta of a game, you're going to buy into the game. I did that for several games, and it was actually worth it. There were bugs, yeah, but not a big deal. But this is alpha. So now we had to pay to buy the game for alpha. We got a few updates on the main release of alpha. When Survival came out, that was free. That was a free update, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, the survival of the fittest.
Correct. And then we go completely to this. I'm going to call it a whole new world at this point. And it's a paid DLC. So what the hell? I mean, I'm not above paying for certain beta pieces, but there's glitches in this game so bad that sometimes it makes it unplayable. I mean, we just found out some today on this one, some of the new atmospheric effects that you're just running around and you're freaking dying.
Well, and to go back to what you were saying about survival of the fittest, here's my opinion, because I was actually going to bring up survival of the fittest. If they would have made survival of the fittest to where you had to pay to play it, it's like, here's a completely separate thing based off of the same mechanics as the game that we're making, but this thing works fine by itself. You pay for that. I'm 100% okay with it. That has nothing to do with this actual game. That it's whatever it is, it's completely done and it's sealed and delivered. But the fact remains is that this thing is $20. They made the original game on sale for $18, but it's normally $30. So this thing is 2/3 of your normal cost of the game. And what you have done is you've kind of sat there and told other people now, if no repercussions come to this company for this, you're looking at that this is where a new line is formed. Where either you're going to have companies that go forward and say, hey, these guys got away with it, we're going to go ahead and get away with it. Or they're going to use it as, look what these guys did that shot themselves in the foot. Let's stay away from that. Either way, a line has been put in the sand.
So let's look at it, though, Pickle. I'm going to play the reverse side of this. I'm going to ask the question, is this the way gaming is going to go? Is it going to go down the Microsoft path of saying, I'm releasing something, but we're always going to be putting out updates and new costs to it?
Oh, like with the Windows 10 model, to where they're
Yes.
not going to put out another version of Windows. Instead, what they're going to do is patch it and then make you pay for the patches.
Yep.
I mean, it's a good point. Who knows?
I don't get it. I think it's a nickel and dime scenario. I mean, guys,
the little
Bad
ones are
coming.
making noises.
I'm naked. Why are you saying that?
No, that means some type of something's coming. Because if you watch them, they kind of hunker down, and their ears bend back, and their tail goes, and they make noises. Some type of storm of some kind is coming.
You sure?
And
it's
everybody,
not
here's a prime example of one of the great new concepts.
Yeah, these are called... Okay, so to kind of go into a little bit of where we are, because I don't want to do too much, but the fact that you can actually see the jerboa on our shoulders, this is a preview for an upcoming ARK video, to where we actually did get the expansions, and it is brutal, but I like it. I think it's too brutal at times, but I like what they're doing with it, and I like what they're going with, and there's still a lot more stuff for us to see. But anyway, these little guys are sort of early warning detectors to let you know something's coming up. There are 3 different types of storms that come through in the expansion. There is superheat, which you're just going to keep slowly dying until you get to someplace cool, which we haven't found yet. There's also sandstorms, which the first time I logged in and played with Kick, we experienced one, and that was pretty freaking wicked. And then there's also electrical storms, which I don't know if either of these guys have, but whenever I was playing by myself, I experienced. So these little guys are supposed to let you know that one of those 3 is coming once they start making noises and stuff, which is why if you look on our shoulders, you can see them ears pinned down, tails moving, and they're making noises.
But only Kix is doing it now. Yours is going back doing it again. So okay.
So as far as what that means for us right now, we don't actually know until it happens. We just know something wicked this way comes. But any other final words for because we could debate this for like the next 2.5 hours, because we, when this came out, had pretty extensive discussions off camera. But is there anything you guys want to say going forward? Sin?
No, I mean, I think it's interesting. I like where they're going with it, but this whole nickel and dime scenario of having to do shit like this, I think it's just gonna go poorly. I don't mind have a problem paying into closed beta than getting the open, but alpha, give me a break. I mean, that's poor business model.
Kick
you twice.
Like we were talking about, the game is great. I think it has a huge subscriber base. So I really think they should have thought about the release model for this and said, okay, we're going to drop the base alpha ARK now down to slightly like $10. And here's the new expansion with a whole bunch of new mechanics to the game, new content, and it costs $19. I think it was just a bad business decision, like you said.
Yeah, the marketing for it was pretty horrible. As such, there has been a huge outlash against it, as if you ever look to Steam and you look at a game and you see it has recent reviews and its rating and its overall reviews and its rating. Anything in the red is bad, and anything in the blue is usually good. However, blue can still share that line at about 50%. In not even 48 hours since its release, and this video is done within that 48 hours, their percent drop from recent reviews has been 20%. It was 63-ish at the time of release, and it was 43 at the time this video was made. I personally will be shocked if it doesn't dip into the 30s. It is getting huge amounts of backlash and huge amounts of lambasting from one spot to the next, and it's just gonna get worse until they actually come out with some type of reasoning as to why they did this. But we all know the reasoning why they did this, because they're trying to sit there and make some money, which
finish the damn game. That would make money,
right?
Also,
and my thing was, when this came out, if they would have fixed all of the bugs and said, all right, here, we're releasing it now, and then any future things that they do, they put them out as small incremental DLC, like say $2 for 2 new dinos that are coming out, or $2 for this, or $2 for that. And I understand it's going back to the whole nickel and diming kind of thing, and that could even be like a pay to win scenario or something. But if they would have said, okay, here's all these bugs that we fixed, because the actual game itself got some type of, if you take screenshots in the game, and there are now dino doors that can be posted in the ceiling for stone, metal, and adobe. As far as the base game, that's it. So we waited a month for some frickin' doors and stuff to play with pictures. That's why people are pissed.
Here's the one other thing that I'm going to say before we close. I think this is a dangerous line, and Valve/Steam needs to take a little bit of thought in this, in their mechanics of hosting games on Steam, because in the regular business world, like we've said, you cannot put out a CD or a DVD or a Blu-ray game and say this is an alpha. You can't get that into a store.
Right. You need a full finished product before that store will even think about buying it.
So kudos to ARK and them for finding a loophole in Steam. Sorry, Steam, this is something for you that you might need to think about going forward for all of the business you're getting for the other games that you're hosting that are in beta and alpha stages.
Yeah, not to put too fine a point on it, but look, Steam's already got nailed once by the whole gambling with the skins on CS:GO. Don't follow another poor business model. I mean, stuff like this is going to cause you to lose market share.
All right, so that's all that we're going to do for this one. This was sort of us letting you know about this controversy, let you know our end of it. Sorry for the sort of static shots of us just standing in a room, but we do have an ARK video coming up where we will get out of this house, I promise. So thank you guys for tuning in. If you like what you saw, be sure to hit that like button. If you like typing, put a comment down below. And as always, subscribe so you know when the next of this and any of our other video series come out in the future. And until I see you in one of those, I'm Pickle, and I'm out. Say goodbye, fellas.
Goodbye, fellas.
Bye, everybody.